So, at least I've got an idea of what to call this guy. I don't know why I just decided to go with this last name because I know in Japan you're supposed to generally call somebody by their last name until they're like okay and comfortable with you enough to call them by your first name. So Umino is this guy's name until I can figure out what exactly his first name is because I looked through the new chapter, I looked through the last chapter. I didn't find his first name. I don't know if I'm just blind or what. If anybody actually saw it, just tell me. But as far as you know, we'll go with Umino. But we found out more about this guy in this chapter. Again, the thing about Candy Flurry that I think has been really good so far are the cast of characters that are presented. Any of the people that have a position that looks like they're sticking around. Obviously, Sumugi, main character. You got Midori, you got Iri, however her name is pronounced. Now we got Umino. I'm wondering about this guy at the end of this chapter, too. I doubt he would stick around unless he's supposed to be part of the receipt group, but I'm at least as of right now, guessing he might be an intruder bad guy. Like, he could easily be a sweet user. There was no sign of his powers, but it's clear from his design that he's made to stand out. And I do like his design. It looks... We didn't get a full design, like, display, but we at least saw his upper body. Maybe he's got some crazy pants on or something, but, like, he's got, like, this really wild style of hair. He's got some, like, in his what was it, the Godspeed form Killua, where it's like the puffed out with like the lightning kind of like style to it. It's all frizzed and kind of jagged. He's got like this weird bug eye look to him. This dude's got like a cool tattoo, like a chain around his neck, which is really weird because it's not just like he's wearing a chain. It's like he's wearing a scarf, but it's just straight chain. It looks cool. I like this guy's design within this, but the chapter was primarily focused on this dude Umino and finding a little bit information as well about the receipt group. I like what they presented with whatever the thing was called, Confedo or something, a Confedo. Essentially, they have like these temporary physical strength boosting candies that they have. They just have a way to fight back against the sweet users and stuff by having, essentially an artificial power boost, which I think is pretty neat. I'm wondering if there are tiers to it as well, because we know that there are ranks. We know there's at least like the 3 stars. Again, I'm curious if there's anything above that, because they're obviously the hard to pronounce name was like the 5 Stella. I'm trying to remember what the second word is in there. It's like Stella Entramets. Again, some of these series, when they pick really, really strange names at the start of stuff, I'm sure it's, I don't know, French or something, but to have that at the start is just a little bit more difficult to grasp rather than like way later on and then put it in there. But I mean, I guess do what you do. I don't know, maybe it's Italian or something. I don't really know, but we ended up getting like I said, the Confedos. But if there are tiers to them, is one of the things right now I have some big interest in, because we have the whole like star system setup, and at least from what we have so far, the 3 stars are sweet users. We don't know if there's only 5 3 stars or what, but I would assume that similar to the Tokyo Ghoul, at least with the doves and stuff, that they like the higher rank you are, the kind of better equipment and better materials you're probably gonna get. So maybe this Confedo, it's like maybe this is just like the super low people that it's like, oh yeah, you can have this, but it's like if it gets higher up, maybe they have a longer lasting kind of power up system or a more potent one. Maybe they have a way to permanently enhance somebody. Outside of that, I noticed that Sumugi, at least while in the chapter, like she seemingly isn't going to be like the same level of kind of boost, considering she doesn't have her Confedo. But because it got knocked out of her hand, she didn't know exactly about them, because she was a last second entry, so she didn't know like the general information about like the stuff that they pretty much were going to be issued for this competition. And there's a really funny part actually when Midori is like asking Irie about it, and she's like, what would you say in response to me admitting I completely forgot to tell her? And I do like her character a lot. So far, I'd say that her and Sumugi are definitely tied right now for my favorite, at least right now. There's only a couple people, so it's not that difficult, obviously, to pick favorites when you only have like 4 or so characters to pick from. But both of them are already like, it's around tied, because Irie has that just kind of like really funny way that her character will reveal something where it seems serious, but it's really just that she's kind of goofy at times, but then I like Tsumugi's character. I've mentioned obviously like I like the way that her personality and her design is constructed, but I'm very curious to know if she has her enhanced abilities outside of using her sweet user powers. Like maybe only when they're active she's got like enhanced physical abilities, because otherwise she should be fine. Like we see at one point after eating this confeito that Umino is like lifting up some concrete. He's just, oh, actually, no, it's not him. It's a random dude. But either way, just some random dude picking up some, like a big chunk of concrete and throwing it at her. And I would assume that given her powers and like feats that she's done, she should be able just to completely like deal with that no problem. But maybe she can't use it or she doesn't have the stats and stuff while her powers aren't active or something. Or maybe she just isn't used to this kind of fight, and so she's not as prepared as she could be while, while in the situation. But either way, we'll have to wait a little bit and figure out more about how, like, obviously the power system and stuff like that works. Maybe she just doesn't want to risk exposing her power, so she's trying to be way more cautious. Because I guess if she didn't eat her confeito and there was, like, some form of proof to that or a witness or something, and then started performing these, like, superhuman feats, that obviously that people would be suspicious of it, because she's like right in the territory of the people that would otherwise like arrest her and stuff and apprehend her. So she's not dumb. Like, sometimes she seems a little bit, not like, maybe not naive, but I think a little bit maybe just kind of unprepared, and then might get caught into something like that. But she's definitely smart enough, I think, to know, yeah, I probably shouldn't do this right now. But from Uno's backstory, I did really like what we got about the information about his dad and his interaction with Irie, because he's big. It was displayed obviously in the last chapter, and we see him in this chapter. He's like a big dude. He has to be at least over 6 feet tall, and obviously for Japan that's huge. I think their average height for guys is like 5'6" or something, and their average for women is like 5'1". So he's huge for them. And obviously this is a fictional series, but like Tsumugi even commented that he was a giant when she first met him. But because of that, you'd think he would be really kind of tough and really kind of like powerful and just very stoic, kind of like very I didn't want to say powerful again, but you know what I mean, just kind of like has a very strong presence to him. But as we saw at the last chapter, in this chapter, he seems very cowardly. He just does not have a lot of confidence. I still am guessing it's going to have to do with, like, growing up with his dad, maybe how his dad was or something, or maybe he just has this personality by default. But he's very nervous. Like, he's, like, thinking about how at one point he casually just mentioned his dad. He thought about joining the receipt group, and then he just decided, all right, you're going to go train with them. But as we have seen in the previous chapter, and then obviously following more of this chapter, he's very nervous, and he doesn't have a lot of confidence in himself. But he ends up meeting Irie, who he later found out, obviously, how big of a deal she was. But at the moment of just meeting her, she was just, this nice woman who ended up giving him some confidence. She actually had a really good line in this one. She says that like she's like talking about how like he's like kind of just like standing still and kind of like not doing anything. And he's like, I often don't know what's right or wrong, but when I decide to move, I believe it's the right choice. I thought that was pretty good, because it was like, when you commit to something, you commit to it because you think it's the right thing to do, or at least the right thing for you, and you stick with it. I thought that was pretty cool, and I would imagine that for him, it would kind of put in his mind to commit to like what he's doing, and the reason that he wanted to be in the receipt groups because he thought that's what he should do and that's what he wanted to do. And it's probably just one of those things where even though he knows where he like believes he wants to go and where he thinks he should be, it doesn't change the fact that he's still clearly very nervous. But he says he wants to be like her, and at the first couple parts, it looks like it's more of like an admiration. But Tsumugi even comments that it looks like he's like outright like in love with her, and I thought that was pretty nice. I like that we already have some connection between two of the characters already. Like I said, I like both of these characters at the moment, so having a connection point between them, not from the idea obviously of like where the first mindset goes with that is like shipping and stuff, but I think of more of like, it means that there's going to be a lot of interactions between these characters, assuming the series survives the act. So I'm excited about that. But at the end of the chapter, we have this dude show up, and this weird spooky looking dude doesn't get a name. It just looks like that he just arrived. So he's either going to be some other big up-and-coming guy for their group, for the whole receipt, like, organization, or he's a sweet user that just kind of, like, shows up. I'm guessing he's, my guess is he's a sweet user, because, like, that explosion that we see right beforehand looks like it's bigger than some of the skyscrapers, and the only characters we've seen with, like, way crazier power, like, output so far, besides Irie, are the sweet users. So we could easily get, like, a bad guy that's, like, interjecting in here, and to see, like, where he, goes about his ways. Otherwise, like, I would be curious to know, like, what this guy's role is going to be. Because I don't think Tsumugi and Umino are going to fail in this first exam. Because, I mean, you're not going to lose in the first round. But could this be a rival for them? Maybe this will be somebody that they'll have to fight in the finals of this or something. I don't know. Either way, this is a solid chapter. Like, there wasn't a ton to talk about, because it was mostly, like, a couple key things, like, obviously talking about, like, the character interactions and stuff set up between Umino's character. The Confado, I thought, was a really cool thing, having, like, they essentially have these, little doping power-up things that they can kind of dispense and carry out. And it does open up, like, some interesting questions, like, if Tsumugi ate some and then used her sweet user power, would that just enhance her power, like, even more so? Maybe that's where, like, her power-ups will start to come in, is, like, harnessing things outside of her powers and integrating it into her moveset or something. Either way, solid chapter. Like I said, I've enjoyed Candy Flurry so far. I think the weird setting, obviously, is going to be a little bit strange to some, but I like the characters, and I like what's been going on at the moment. So I'm hoping it does well. I would like it to, survive the axe. And it does make me happy, even though I liked Build King, knowing that the series that took Build King's slot in Shonen Jump is something that I also enjoy. And it's not something that I have to kind of just ignore that it exists, knowing that, it's something that I don't like that took up the slot of something I do like. Even though I obviously liked Build King, I'm happy to know that even though it left, something that I do enjoy is, it was added to the list that I can, read and enjoy. Simple as that. But other than that, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, befriend the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. Better than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.